Hi guys, this is a second part of the on the subject of boots. Yeah, when you purchase a pair of boots, the first thing you need to do is wear them in, and it's quite imperative that you do that before you come onto the fan dance if you've just bought a pair. And you do that simply by wearing them around the house, wearing them to go to shops, even wearing them to go to work or whatever you can get away with. Just keep them on your feet as much as you possibly can. One thing I will say about these boots, which I missed out earlier, and it's not just for these boots. A lot of boots have this this material inside the ankle now, but these have actually got memory foam in the ankle, and like any other memory foam, it will mold to your body. So the idea is you lace these up, and the heat of your body will mold that memory foam to your ankles, and it does have the memory. So this is why you can't share boots or buy second-hand ones and things like that, especially not nowadays, because that will be molded to someone else's foot and can cause you severe issues. So that's one thing to keep in mind, and look out for it because it is quite a good addition to a boot on the ankle. That said, again, you need to make choices on the boot, and one of the biggest ones is Gore-Tex or not Gore-Tex, and that's your decision. Some of you guys will have a lot more experience than others, so yeah, it's a good place on the page to discuss that amongst yourselves for those who have had both and have a chat. You'll notice on here, like I was mentioning before, these have got hooks rather than eyelets. Now in the military, that's banned from the airborne side of you. And that's simply because they can catch on all kinds of things and can actually put holes in the parachute. So they're basically not allowed. But you know, you're not joining the army, particularly not an airborne unit. So you'll be okay with these. The ones you issued, by the way, just for your interest, General Army. These are your normal combat highs. I mean, I've left now, obviously, but you can see they're not hooks; they're actual eyelets. If you can actually see that, and that's how they get around that issue. That's what we had to run around in, basic boots, but it's basically one shape rather than one size. One shape fits all, which isn't ideal, and you're going to have major issues with your feet. That's why you've got the luxury of trying to find out what's good for you experimenting, but it is a very expensive experiment if you keep getting it wrong. So to cut that down, what you really want to do is, as I say, get them well worn in before you go out and do anything like the fan dance. And if you've only just bought a pair just ahead of the fan dance, then make sure you do your best effort to get them worn in, wear them around as much as you can. The other thing you want to do when you get a pair of boots is every time you use them outside, when you get back home, wash them straight away, scrub them down, but don't let them dry out as per just rubbing them down and wetting them. As soon as you wet these, you need to treat them, and the reason being because that's leather, and leather obviously will dry out if it's not treated. You could say it's live. You need to treat it and keep it supple, and the way to do that, as mentioned before, use some dubbing. Shoe polish works as well, but obviously you don't want to be applying that with your hand if it's black polish. So the other stuff is a lot better. But not only that, it's dubbing is the actual substance for boots. That's what you want to be putting on your boots to keep them waterproofed. So as soon as you come in from a tab or from anywhere, scrub your boots, wash your boots, let them dry for about 5 minutes. Then get some dubbing on your hand, as mentioned before, and get that dubbing properly soaked into them boots, and then leave them. That dubbing will work its wonders on the leather and keep them supple, and that's how you want to maintain them. Don't subject them to any bright light or heat for long periods, because again you're going to dry the skin out, and that's even if there's dubbing on it. Don't put them near the radiators and things like that. And what you can do when the actual boots are wet when you come in, is get some newspaper, scrunch the newspaper up, make sure it's scrunched up into balls, and force it down into the boot. That's the fastest way of drying boots out. Or if you've got a few quid to spare, go out and buy yourself some of these. These are called Dry Zone. It's probably saying it the other way round on the camera, but they're called Dry Zone, and what they are is just bags of silica gel. The company's called Dry Zone. Again, I'm not on commission for these guys, but what all you do is you get them and you drop them into the ankle of your boot. I've actually got two. Well, I've got 2 pairs, so I've got 4 of them. I put 2 in each boot, and within 20 minutes that boot's dry. But what you don't want to do is keep them in there, because again, you're going to be drying the leather out too much, and you don't want that. So always bear in mind that leather needs to stay subtle. So yeah, once you've done the boots, make sure they're actually going to be ready for you then for the next day. What you don't want to do is go to your boots to go tabbing and they're still full of mud, because what you'll do, you'll either go out like that and you're causing damage, and you've got to look after the eyelets as well, because what you don't want them is them to start rusting with the water, and then they cut into the leather, and the leather forms cracks, and then you're knackered in your boots. And as you can probably understand, these are roughly £200 a piece, so you want to be looking after them. If you've got issues where you've got abrasions on your feet, on your ankles from the boots, and they're not quite fitting you too well, best thing to do, especially around the ankle, around this part, around the heel, is where you sometimes have the issues with new boots. Just get a hammer, hold the boot, and just knock around the boot with the hammer, and keep doing that. Because what you're doing is you're breaking down that leather a little bit and the structures inside that are being made to form the boot. You could heat the boot as well, heat the boot up slightly, and then hammer. By that I mean don't put it under direct heat, but make sure you're not out in the cold when you're doing it, because obviously the cold will cause them to go hard. Be in a warm environment and hammer them gently. A mallet or a hammer, doesn't matter. Hammer them around your heel until the pain of until the issue goes away on your feet, and then wear them again and keep wearing them until you're wearing them in properly. One thing with your feet, or should I say one thing with your boots, when you're buying these boots, again, not everyone's feet is different. Boots normally only go up in sizes, but with some manufacturers, with some companies, some brands, boots have width sizes as well. And if you don't know your width size, what you want to be doing is going to get your feet professionally measured, professionally sized. Okay, you can either take your boot with you that you have got and go and get them looked at, or just get your feet professionally sized, measured, and also get your gait analysed. I've mentioned this a few times before, and I'll mention it on a future blog when I'm talking about actual feet. Go and get your gait analysed as well. And what they'll do, they'll have you walking on a treadmill, and they'll video your gait as you're walking, how your feet are planting, where your ankles are going, what your knees are doing, and they'll be able to draw up an analysis of how your legs are working, and that can actually draw up a good idea how your feet are going to act in a set of boots, and what size boots you need, what type of boots you need. These are all the criteria you need to look at when you're purchasing a boot. Also go and chat to some people who work in these shops, because a lot of them are actual outdoor enthusiasts and they know a fair bit about boots. So have a chat with them as well. Okay, that's it for this blog. I'm going to end it here, and I'll talk next about foot care. Okay guys, see you on the other side.